But
Yeah. I mean, so that leads up to real estate, right?
mhm.
You're jumping around. Why real estate? Like why this industry? What intrigued you?
So I've always really loved everything about houses, the buying, the selling, the architecture, the land. Like I said, I love, outdoors. I love being in the country. So I've always liked that part. In fact, I thought about being a carpenter or electrician because I wanted to be, involved in that and building houses. I love seeing the start to the finish. But then throughout, some of those other jobs. And like I said, the military and the firefighter paramedic, I loved helping people.
Hmm.
So it was a combination of, the housing, the helping people through a very stressful and difficult process, and being that advocate for them really just fit for me as far as real estate goes. But how I got into it, I owe it all to the team leader himself, Mr. Michael Doyle. Big shout out for him. So I'm scrolling through Facebook at one of my crazy jobs, trying to figure out, how can I get out of this? I'm looking through Indeed.com for different jobs to apply to. It's a rough day for Joe, but I'm scrolling through Facebook and I see Mike just constantly popping up all the time, and every time he posts, it's genuine happiness. I can tell that he thoroughly loves what he does. Um, I know he's making a killing at doing it, and so I could tell that he just had that thing that I wanted, which
Yeah.
was that I found what I'm doing for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
So um, I just took a chance, man, and I messaged him and was like, "Hey, do you just want to sit down one day for lunch and let me pick your brain? You seem really happy." And I had known of Mike throughout high school. He went to he spent a short stint at London, even though he doesn't like to admit it. So I knew him from there, and then I met him a time or two down at my social events at OU. But
You weren't like tight or friends, you just kind of ran in some of the same circles, or just kind of knew each other from a distance?
just Madison County is a very, very small county, so you end up being at a lot of the same parties, I'll call them, in high school. And between that and then just different fairs, things like that, I heard of his name or he heard of mine, and just at different places. So definitely not the best of friends by any means, just didn't know each other all that well.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a gamble, man. As soon as I sent the message, I was like, it was like almost like texting a girl. It's like, man, I hope they respond.
He's like
uh,
sweating.
right, yeah, exactly. And he's like, yeah, no, for sure, man. Let's sit down. So we sat down at Average Joe's, which I thought was hilarious. He picked there because obviously my name's Joe. But we sit down there and he just gave me every single thing that he had. Like, he didn't hold anything back. He gave me everything. And I could tell that he genuinely enjoyed what he did, loved talking about it. He had that vibe, that energy that I really wanted. And he was an open book. I could tell that if I wanted to be a part of it, that he would be there to help me. And I had thought about a real estate a long time ago, but knew I needed a mentor. And that's why I never got into it. But because I was, full commission job and
Right.
big risk. And Mike ended up being that guy for me, being the mentor. So thank him. I can't thank him enough, because without him, I definitely wouldn't be here. So he's been that guy for me, and stayed true to his word. He's helped me with everything he possibly could. And it was funny when we left that meeting that day. He said, go home, research some stuff. Don't go crazy with anything. Don't quit your job. Nothing like that. Well, as always, I never listened. I quit my job. I dropped a bunch of money on a credit card to pay for my classes. And I called him immediately. Was like, hey, man, I got my classes. Let's roll. And he was like, what? He's like, dude, I told you not to. And I was like, because he wanted me to get my ducks in a row. But I knew that I wanted to be a part of whatever Mike was doing. And
Yeah.
luckily I did.
That's awesome. And at the time, he didn't have a team, right? Like
Mm.
there's no financial incentive to meet with you and be the open book and to reach out.
Yeah,
It
it was all just out of the kindness of his heart, man. He really truly loves helping people, and that's what I love to do as well. So I wanted to be a part of that, and yeah, there was no, like you said, incentive for him to go. He just did it because he wanted to help someone.
Yeah, and it's something that you mentioned in there that I know you and I have talked about in the past over the last year or year and a half. He was posting stuff on Facebook, and you knew him, but you didn't know him, right? You probably didn't really engage in a lot of his content or his posts, but
Hmm.
you were watching. You always
Yep.
saw it, right? And we've
Hmm.
talked about that too, right? The power of consistency of just putting out content, because you just never know who's watching and who's seeing, and they may not be, responding on every single one, but maybe in 3 years they reach out to you and they're like, "Hey, Joey, I've been watching your career. I've been seeing what you're doing. I'm ready to buy or I'm ready to sell." Right?
For sure. Yeah. Even if that even if they never end up reaching out or they never like or comment or whatever, if I
Right.
still am reaching some one person, that, means the world to me. And that means I was able to give back what Mike gave to me. So
Yeah.
absolutely.
So you get into real estate, you quit your job, put classes on credit card. Again, you know, did you have any doubters, supporters, now going into this, right, where you are fully 100% commission based,
Yep.
no check coming in 2 weeks. Walk me through that.
Oh boy. Yeah, I think everyone again doubted me because I definitely doubted myself. I was to a point to where I was like, this feels right, and I'm gonna give it everything I have. But it was a whole lot of doubt in the back of my mind for sure. And luckily I have my number one supporter that's always in my corner, my wife Jessie. She has helped me through everything. Not just the financial support, because you're right, you don't get a check day one. You don't get a hey, welcome bonus. It's you
Yeah.
got your license, go to work. So yeah, she didn't help just with the finances and stuff, but it was more or less the support when she's like, you can do this, and if you're really going to try this, you better go all out, give it everything you have, just like usual. So she was there for some really hard times for me when I didn't know, if this was the right move, or because then there's a potential I might not make money at all ever. I might not ever sell a house. So it was a big, big risk. But just like all those other jobs, I was willing to bet on myself, and luckily, my wife is able to bet on me as well. So she's been doing that since day one, and without her, I wouldn't be here. So shout out to her, thank her. But yeah, it was how are you going to get clients, how are you going to do this, how are you going to survive until then? There was a lot of unknown, a lot of questions. But at the end of the day, once you get your license, you forget all the stuff you studied anyways. So I really didn't know, but luckily I had a very, very good support staff around me, that was willing to help me out, and they just really wanted me to succeed. I told them how excited I was about this, and they could see it and hear it in my voice, and they were willing to give me their support, full in, parents, friends, family, sister, everybody. So they were in my corner after I told them how much I loved it. So it was
Yeah.
a rough road at first.
Yeah, that support system is key, right? Because you're right, it's not it's I always say real estate's simple, but it's hard. You know, there's no you don't know what the outcomes are going to be, right? But if you focus on the things that you need to focus on, um, you'll find the success, and having those people in your corner to support you, because it does get lonely. It's lonely in the beginning, even when you have mentors and all that.
Yep.
It's lonely, getting started. I remember, I think it was 3 or 4 years into my career, there was a time where I went 4 months without a closing, and it wasn't because I didn't work. I just had like a couple deals fall through here and there, and got to the point where I had $700 in my account, and it was just like, wow, better buckle up, or it's gonna get real lonely, and having those people in your corner that you can lean on, and whether that's just even having a conversation, or helping you clear your head or whatever. So that's awesome. um what